Folks, have you ever wondered what it takes to build a stadium? Our next guest has built more than 30 of them out of paper. Coming to us from his home in Omaha, Nebraska is our next guest, Trey Ashby. Trey, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. This is awesome.
You have one of the most interesting talents I've ever seen. You build paper replicas of famous sports stadiums down to the most exact detail. What got you interested in doing this?
Well, growing up, I always loved stadiums, loved drawing them, was really just fascinated by stadiums. And fast forward to being about 30 years old, I was looking for a hobby, and I decided to get back into stadiums again. And one of the things that happened was I'm a teacher, and I could just pull paper out of a recycling bin, like a almost endless resource to build stadiums with. So the whole idea of building them with paper was just because that's what I had on hand. And here I am. I started a Twitter account. My friend Cletus said I should put it out and show people, and I've grown to thousands of followers, and to the point where I'm getting commissioned to make stadiums for people all over the nation.
That's incredible. Now, what kinds of basic materials do you use to make these unbelievable creations?
So I tried it like that. Obviously, as I've gotten better at this, maybe I could use other stuff, but I try and just stick to that niche of being paper stadiums, you know. So it's all 65-pound cardstock. Sometimes I use a little bit of printer paper, or really that's it. Just I try and stick 100%. I would say 99.9% paper, just because that's the stick of what I think blows people away is making them out of this household resource that we all have in our house.
Of course, no paper stadium collection would be complete without the iconic Notre Dame Stadium, which you built this year. Tell us about your interest in Notre Dame.
Yeah, so as I've been building it, as this hobby has become a business and people are, like I said, commissioning me to make them, one of the things that I had to sacrifice is I don't choose what stadiums I'm making anymore. So I had a kind of an idea to kind of scam people, and I put a list of the top 10 stadiums I want to make. And really what it was is I was trying to trick people into ordering those stadiums. So I'm being a big college football fan and Major League Baseball fan. It was all some of the most iconic college stadiums and pro baseball stadiums, and Notre Dame was one of the ones at the top of the list. And it worked. Somebody reached out, like, "Oh, you have a Notre Dame Stadium? I'd love for you to make it." And they supported me and helped me make that stadium and bring that check that off my checklist of stadiums that I wanted to make.
Now, when you built paper Notre Dame Stadium, did you run into any unique challenges?
Yeah, so those new buildings from the most recent renovation, that like Art Deco design, that was like as you see it right there, the most time-consuming part of the project. Just layer upon layer upon layer of paper, trying to bring that 3D effect to life. And then one of the things that wasn't hard but was really fun was making the flowers that you see field side. That's just little tiny pieces of paper confetti that I put there. It really only took like 2 minutes, but that's one of my most enjoyable things to look at from doing that project.
And we just saw the video of the hockey rink that you built when they had both the NHL and a Notre Dame Michigan game here. I mean, that's really getting right down to the details.
I try. I think that's what I find most enjoyable is when people say stuff like that, like, "I can't believe you remembered to do this." And I'm like, there we go. That's what I'm going for, is I really want to almost impress people by doing all, like you said, all the way down to the most minute detail, and making sure I hopefully don't forget anything that's really important to the stadium and the stadium's history and stuff that the fan base really values.
And, of course, when you build Notre Dame Stadium, you're not just building a stadium. And we should point out that, as folks just saw, you also built replicas of Duncan Hall, Corbett Hall. We're coming to you right now from Corbett Hall and O'Neill Hall.
Okay.
So they're all attached to the stadium, and even the Hesburgh Library and the Mosaic, popularly known as Touchdown Jesus. Why did you decide to build the stadium as it is today rather than, say, at a different point in history? Because there have been a number of really iterations of this stadium.
The boring answer is the guy that commissioned it. He wanted it built as it is today. So that was really the decision. I think it would be super fun to build different eras of, like you said, stadiums like Notre Dame that have gone through so many lives and so many different eras. It would be fun to build a model for each different era. I've done Wrigley Field, and I built one that's present day and one that's set in 1960. And that would be fun to do with like a lot of college football stadiums, and especially Notre Dame, that as the years have gone on, they've kind of grown and matured into what we know them as today. So it would be fun someday to do another Notre Dame Stadium, maybe set in 1989 or, one of the more iconic, I think 89 was a championship year, right?
88.
One of those iconic championship years.
Yep, got to say, 88, right here. I'm blessed to have one of them. That's right.
I knew it was really close to that.
But no, you're close, and there's 3 iterations. It's just fascinating. We got a little bit of a perspective of how big the model is when you put your hand in there with the hockey rink, but can you give us the basic dimensions? How wide, how long, how tall?
Well, if I can, on the camera, it's kind of hard because I'm doing 3D. There we go. So about 18 inches, 18 inches. So it's really, I would say, the best way to explain it is it's like the size of a little bit bigger than a piece of printer paper, because I can't have the field be bigger than a piece of printer paper. So that's usually what decides it. A lot of people, people that are really into models, will be like, oh, is that 1/100th or one? I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of make it a certain size and figure out how to ship it later. And so, yeah, it's roughly about 1.5 feet on the longest end from end zone to end zone.
Well, you are enormously talented, Trey. Thanks for taking some time to visit with us tonight on Notre Dame Day.
I appreciate it. This is a thrill being on here, so I appreciate it.